I will officially kick us off then and welcome everybody to our AMA, our Ask Me Anything about our Education Innovation Showcase. We are so thrilled to have you all here and to be interested in this amazing initiative that we've been running for the last couple of years now. So I'm Julia Heiser. I'm our Senior Vice President of Community here at ASU+GSV Summit, and I'm thrilled to be joined by my colleagues here today, Tiffany Taylor, who is the President of the ASU+GSV Summit, and Electra Freelingheisen, who is our K-12 program manager. So we will be active in the chat answering questions. So please feel free to add your questions in as you have them. We'll also have some time at the end for any questions that you have. But we are going to spend about the first 15 minutes before we get to Q&A, just kind of sharing context a little bit more about ASU GSV, what the summit is, what the Ed Showcase is, before we turn it over to you. So we'll take you through a couple slides, share some background information, share some information about the showcase, and then get to your questions. So with that, I'll turn it over to Tiffany to share more about the ASU GSV Summit.
Yes. Hi there, folks. And hello to all of my Michiganders. I saw Grand Rapids. We got the west side of the state. We got Southeast Michigan represented as well. But I am a Detroiter through and through. And am really excited to be here with you all. I always share with people that here at GSV, we are one house with two sides. We are investors, connectors, and conveners, and we are a global community. And our North Star at the start and the end of the day is that all people will have equal access to the future. And we believe that innovations at scale in the pre-K to grade learning and skills are critical to achieving that end. And as a former classroom teacher, that is something that deeply personally resonates with me. As I mentioned, we have a few arms of the GSV platform. I'll share a bit about the GSV Ventures and then also about the summit. The venture side of the house was founded in 2016 as an investment arm of GSV, and it's a multi-stage venture fund where we invest in some of the most important innovations across the globe and that pre-K to grade landscape. So everything that you would see in your K-12 settings, your photo maps, your Duolingos, your Coursera's, your Courseiros, your Magic Schools. Those are companies that we invest in all the way up through the higher ed and then also your enterprise solutions like Guild and Masterclass. And then we also have our flagship convening heading into its 17th year, which is the summit where we've hosted in partnership with the innovative Arizona State University. And the summit draws more than 7,000 people. And if you've been or have heard anything about it, you know that it is not a traditional education conference. It's a dynamic meeting ground for leaders across sectors, ranging from K-12 to higher ed, corporate L&D, workforce development, investors, philanthropists. So everyone that you could think of, from President Obama and President Bush to every district leader from across the country, and university presidents to the Bill Gates and Sheryl Sandbergs of the world, to every major tech company, from the OpenAIs to Microsofts and the Googles and all the major philanthropic institutions like the Waltons and the Gates of the world, all coming together to really talk about and to actually get into action around innovation in education. And that has grown from a niche gathering of about 200 to a global event, again, with over 7,000 attendees from over 130 countries. And so for me and Julia and Electra and Abby and the rest of our K-12 team, it's you, right? It's our K-12 educators that are so foundational to our mission, which you see on the screen here, to leading that change and to leading innovation in the ecosystem from every angle. And so we work day in and day out to center and honor you across the different arms of our GSV platform. And for us, we know that education leaders are innovators and entrepreneurs in their own right. And so this particular showcase is meant to honor that. And then the last thing that I'll say before I turn it back over to Julia is that this year I am just thrilled to announce that we have recently partnered with BET to expand our impact globally. So from the US to the UK to Brazil to Asia, we're really thrilled to join this global community, and now across 4 continents with 100,000 leaders in our community. We are expanding our reach, but more importantly, expanding our impact. And so that was enough for me. I will turn it over to Julia, and we'll be here for the Q&A portion of the conversation.
Thank you so much, Tiffany. So I also wanted to share a little bit just about our K-12 community. Tiffany spoke beautifully to this, but we have really intentionally grown and diversified this community over the past several years. We work closely with districts and partners all across the country and the world to make sure this happens. So in 2025, we welcomed over 1,200 K-12 leaders to the summit. We had 46 states represented. We had 80% of the top 10 districts. We just had a great group of folks there. And you can see some of the community highlights that we do every year. We have signature programs, interactive sessions, workshops, collaborations. We also do a lot of year-round work. So I just wanted to give a little highlight over what we do for K-12. But let's get to the topic at hand today, which is our Education Innovation Showcase. So if you're here, you found your way to our website, maybe you've read a little bit about the showcase. I'm going to, again, spend about 5 to 10 minutes going over some details and key things, and then we'll get into questions. So the Ed Showcase honors K-12 systems leaders. Actually, I have a note pre-K-12. We had a question if, I'm early childhood, can I apply? Yes, absolutely. Public, private, district, charter, does not matter. All pre-K-12 leaders are invited to apply, who are advancing innovation in their community and fostering meaningful change at a systems level. Do you want to have a note here? Because we always get this question, so I'm going to preempt it. If you are a nonprofit or a company or an after-school program who is working with K-12 leaders, you can absolutely apply with a school, with a district. So it's really important that the application itself comes from a school, comes from a district. But we've had the past 3 years, we've had nonprofits come in and say, here's how we're supporting the school, here's how we're supporting the district. But it is really important that initial application comes from, the school or district or state level we've even had previously. So I can speak more to that, but just wanted to name that on the front end. And then we have two categories that you can actually submit an application in. So one is the pre-implementation. So maybe you have an idea and you've done the research and you're ready to roll it out, but you haven't yet rolled it out yet. So that's our idea category. And then we also have our impact category, which is you have implemented something, you have seen results. And so we have two separate categories. And that actually came from feedback from previous applicants, from previous attendees who said, there is a lot of innovation happening all across like kind of the curve. And it would be great to also celebrate the ideas and the impact. So there's two different categories that we have. That said, and we've had this every year, you can apply in both categories. And if you're leading two different projects that are both in the idea stage or both in the impact stage, that's fine. You can also apply with multiple projects. So that is totally fine. It's not like you can only apply once. And then we also people want to know how do I get in? So we do have a standardized rubric with 5 different categories, and you can see the categories on the screen: the issue that you're solving, the innovation, the impact, the insight, and then the inclusion. And what we do is we partner with all of our Powered by partners, which I'll get to in a minute. They were on the screen when you first joined, but our Powered by partners help us find first round judges to review all of the applications. And that's how we end up selecting kind of the top five, so top 10 overall in each category. So that's what the showcase is. Our next slide has a little bit about the timeline. So again, as you know, if you're here, our timeline is coming up January 5th. Just because there is such a short amount of time between January and April in terms of logistics and planning, we really cannot accept late applications. So we really encourage you to apply by that January 5th deadline. In February, all applicants will receive a status update. The top 10 will be announced. And then in April, the showcase event is live at the summit. It's on the Tuesday afternoon. All the finalists come on stage, get a chance to say hello, share a little bit about their project, and then a few are invited to pitch live, and a panel of judges selects the idea and impact winner, and we celebrate them. So that is the timeline and what's coming up next. So you're probably wondering, okay, what are the prizes? What do the winners get? And we're so thrilled that all of our prizes are really focused on helping you continue your impact and continue your reach. So all the prizes are really thoughtfully curated by our partners and are powered by partners, like I said. So ASU+GSV Summit, Digital Promise, Leap Innovations, Transcend Education, Educating All Learners Alliance, and TIES. And again, really designed to advance the impact on students in your schools and states and districts. So all of the top 10 receive the chance to pitch live on stage. They also receive one complimentary registration to the summit in 2026. And then we also are able to cover accommodations. So 4 nights of hotel. Again, that's for one person for the top 10. All top 10 finalists are also receiving an hour of virtual consultancy from Leap Innovations, a chance to be on the Educating All Learners Alliance podcast, which our finalists loved last year. And then also our friends at Digital Promise Ties and Transcend are coming together to produce a customized workshop for all of our top 10. So I'm really excited about that opportunity, again, to advance learning. And then our winners in each category will receive the following. So again, super excited about the prizes that our amazing Powered by Partners have put together. So that virtual consultant and kind of a tailored in-person full day workshop on the Leap Learning Framework, 2 days of the STEM on the go van to provide that digital fabrication for students in grades 6 through 12, teacher development, and then ties consulting for a capstone project for K-12, consulting with the Neogenesis group, a great digital promise inclusion framework, and also complimentary accommodations and registration for any League of Innovative Schools convening or event in the next year. Transcend will run a design sprint with you and your team, focus on outcomes. Again, that feature on the Educating All Learners Alliance podcast, and then an opportunity to be a part of a webinar with EALA and kind of those personalized consulting as well with that group. And then complimentary registration for next year's summit. So for the 2027 summit. So that is what our top two prizes win. And again, our top two winners win. And we are so excited that all of these prizes are really focused on advancing those innovations and advancing more outcomes for students. So we can go ahead to the next slide and just wanted to pause. And we get this question a lot, Julia, Tiffany, it's a lot of work to do this application, and we really do try and streamline it. You can see in every single question exactly kind of what we're looking for. We do request a video, but it does not have to be a crazy produced video. It's literally can be you sitting at your computer, just narrating what your innovation is. We just find it really helps the judges to hear the story in your own words. But it's still, we acknowledge we were all classroom teachers at one point, Electra, Abby, Tiffany, and myself. We know that time is precious. We were, leading schools, leading districts, like we get it. So we do want to just name, we do think this still could be so valuable and so amazing for people to apply because we really have created the showcase, as Tiffany said, to elevate and celebrate innovation. We know you're all entrepreneurs and leaders in your own right. We want to make sure we're acknowledging and celebrating that. We also think it's a great chance to inform the community, right? So this is an open event. About 300 people attend every year. In the audience, you get those investors, those nonprofits, those higher ed leaders. We get community college presidents coming. It is open to everybody. So it's such a great opportunity to share your brilliant work with a really diverse set and group of people. And then it's also an opportunity to connect and share. Obviously, we elevate and celebrate your work, throughout the summit and, beyond. We're always sharing, hey, have you seen this innovation? We're connecting people to you after the fact if they have a question about X, Y, or Z. So it's really a chance for elevation, informing the broader audience, and then connection. All right, I think that might be my last informational slide. So I will pause. I see one question in the chat, which I will voice over live. And then we do have some just general FAQs that I'm happy to run through, but also definitely this is the time to either come off mute or ask your question in the chat. So Danny, I see your question. Do we get access to the rubric that your team will use to choose the winners? So not the rubric itself, but when you get into the application, it'll say issue, and it gives you some really helpful prompting text, like here's what you should, be responding about. So you'll be able to really not waste time and target your answer to exactly kind of what's on the rubric. So I hope that answer helps. Any other questions in the chat or people want to come off mute? If not, I can just run through some more FAQs about the showcase. Or Tiffany and Alexa, feel free to come off mute if I missed anything.
No, you didn't miss anything. It was great, Julia.
I had another quick question about the additional pieces that we can add in. If we're wanting to add additional videos, it does say in the application that it's taking PDFs only. How would you recommend that we add additional videos?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if you have the link to the video, you can like add it as, in a Word document and then as a PDF, or you can just email me And I will put my email address and we'll make sure it gets tied to your application. The link, let me get the link. Great question.
I'm on the link, Julia. I can send that in there.
Okay, perfect. Um, Matt, can you say more about your question? I didn't see anything in the application about a budget. Is that something that's uploaded or expanded on later?
Yeah, typically when I submit budget app or grant applications, part of the package is a budget for the project in question. I didn't see anything asking about any kind of even budget figures, let alone, like a spreadsheet or anything.
Yeah, Tiffany, did you want to speak to that?
No, go ahead.
So yeah, so Matt, I'm guessing you are meaning for like the idea application because the impact one assumes you've already gone through the entire process. So yeah, this we don't have a budget in terms of a grant. It's not a grant. It's really how can you share your idea and we can help advance that idea through those consultancies, the workshops, things like that. It's not a monetary budget grant, if that makes sense. I don't know, Tiffany, if you want to add anything.
No, that's right. It's a showcase, Matt. And so in instead of you going directly to the Gates Foundation to say, hey, this is my idea, this is my proposal, this is how I would need it to be resourced. I need $60,000. We are saying this is your platform to share your idea, to pitch your idea, and then you have these six powered by partners who will help you drive impact or bring that vision to life by way of their consultancies. Does that make sense?
So there's no financial part of the award package then.
No monetary, no cash prize. Yes, exactly.
Understood. Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions
I
now?
had a
If not,
question. And I came to me now, so I didn't have a chance to research it, but um, where we could kind of see the impact of previous winners or previous finalists and how they've been able to just to see their impact on the world from where they started and then after coming through the program.
Absolutely. So all of our previous winners from the last, what, 3.5, 3 or 4 years are on the website. And so what we'll do
Okay.
following this call, Electra will send you the link, or we can pop it in right now because all of the winners are listed there for sure.
yeah,
Awesome.
and then
Awesome.
I would also say if you're not already following us, the ASU+GSV Summit on LinkedIn, definitely do that because we'll sometimes, people will tag us or we'll feature things. For example, some of our winners who went on that podcast this past year, shared their podcast episode where they talk more about their impact. So that's another way you can definitely hear more about what they're doing. And then I'll make sure we link the video library that's on our main site, and you'll be able to watch the showcases from previous years. Also to get a sense of, and it's fun to you can kind of see people who have applied multiple years, because that's also fine. We always say that if you have applied before, I don't know if I see anybody, but if you applied before, you're absolutely welcome to apply again.
And then Megan, to your question, no, we have had hundreds of applications in years past. And so we accept multiple applications in both categories, but only 5 in each category are advanced to the final stage. Great. Did we miss any?
Yes, there's a question from Matt, and then I think some Megan +1 to this question. So, if a project is past the idea stage but does not have any measurable impact, it's only been a few months, which category would be more applicable? It's a good question. I mean, I do imagine that you did have some type of, goals that you hit in opening that school. And so if even if it's not measurable student data or student impact, you could reflect on the impact of the goals that you had and how you reached them. Or you could do, the idea that has already kind of started, but and just note that it's not just an idea, it has started, but it's too soon. I think either one would be fine. I actually think probably better. Well, I don't know better, but I think we can always talk too. I feel like last year we had a similar situation and they applied in the idea category because it was kind of too early to show any measurable student outcomes. So they chose idea category.
And Marlon, no, we are agnostic. Public schools, charter schools, private schools, state entities, education entities, are eligible to apply for this.
And then that actually raises another question that, because Margaret, I saw you said we can be flexible on what impact looks like. Absolutely. I think, what we are looking for is have you defined it and have you reached it, right? So I think that is kind of what we are looking for. Same thing for technology. Ed tech is, core to what we do. We get people asking all the time. I didn't create a new technology for this. That's fine. You don't have to create a new technology to be a part of the showcase. It's really about how you are using and implementing the technology. Is that innovative? Have you come to an innovative way of doing that? It doesn't have to be that you created your own chatbot, although we did have that one year. That doesn't have to be it. It has to be how did you really thoughtfully implement, the innovative technology. So I just want to also be very clear on that. Any other questions before we get to some more of the FAQs? Okay, yeah, the questions are coming in. I love this. Okay, follow-up question for the folks accepted outside of the top 10, what is their role in the showcase, just attendance? So the top 10 are the ones who are invited to come and to pitch and have the complimentary registration and accommodations. If you're not in the top 10, of course, you are welcome to attend the conference, attend the showcase. But we are, only on stage going to be honoring and celebrating the top 10. So I hope I answered your question correctly. I have an LLC. And I work with schools with this technology, and I have data to show impact. That's okay. Dr. Jones, yes, I would say if you apply with the school, so the school has to be in the application, and then if you are selected to be in the top 10, the school has to be there on stage with you. So last year we did have a Montessori school that also was using a new technology, and both the Montessori school and the person who developed the technology came on stage and pitched together. Okay. Awesome. Electra, let's tick through some of these FAQs. I think we've actually covered many of them, but let's just make sure we don't have any, and then any more questions that come up, and then we will go back to the chat. So the first one is about target like level of impact. And again, this goes back to it's not about, the most innovative, like you've developed your own chatbot, it's really about the initial size being appropriate for what you've identified. So projects and learnings absolutely should be scalable, but if you're starting something in a cluster of schools or in a cluster of classrooms or in, a pilot school and then you're expanding to your network, that's fine. We don't, we want things to scale and be scalable and the learnings to be scalable. And there's a question about that on the application, but it's not like you have to start off your project impacting, every student in the state of California. For example, who should apply? We talked about that. So again, school districts, school K-12 leaders, pre-K-12 leaders sitting in, schools, districts, charters, privates, et cetera. The school leader has to be the one applying. And then that deadline is Monday, January 5th. We can go to the next slide. So we talked about this a little bit, but there's a written component to the application answering kind of just basic questions about the project. And then that short video, the video, again, does not need to be produced professionally or edited professionally. It can just be you speaking to your Zoom screen. Many finalists have just submitted that in the past. We just ask that if you do have any students or teachers in the video, that you do get permission. Sometimes we do have finalists, and I think maybe somebody asked about this, a news story maybe has covered their project, so they submit that and a video explaining it. That's fine. You can submit. Please do not create any supplementary materials for this, but if you have supplementary materials, we would absolutely love to see them as well. So there is a spot in the application for that. And then the framework for evaluation, we talked about that. So there's short answers or short prompts within each question on the application, kind of guide you to share more details about what we're looking for. And then I see a question in the chat. Yes, I will send out a copy of this presentation to everybody who RSVP'd, so you'll get this afterwards and the recording. We shared the benefits. We shared the grand prize already, so we can keep going, Electra. Can you know who reviewed my application? So we don't share, okay, Electra reviewed these 5 and Julia reviewed these 5, but we do ask our first round reviewers to share feedback, and many of them do, and we collate that feedback and we'll send it back to you. So you will get feedback on your application either way. It's sometimes, it's a couple sentences, sometimes it's an opportunity to connect and learn more, but we do want to value and honor the time that you took to apply. So while we can't share exactly who reviewed your application, know that we do at least, more than 2 or 3 people who have reviewed it, and we do share feedback when we can. Decisions will be released, missed a number there, February 2026. And then if you are invited to be at the top 10, we will work quickly with you to get registered and all your logistics sorted out to join us in April. And then if you have entered or previously presented at the ASU+GSV Summit, can you still apply? Absolutely. We've had people apply every year. We love that. We love to see how their innovations have grown and changed. So you are welcome to apply even if you've spoken before or previously applied to the showcase. And then these are some major dates. Again, we've talked about this. So the application's already live. Today is the AMA. Thank you for joining us. Application deadline is on the 5th. And then February announcements will be made. And then our summit this year is April 12th through 15th in San Diego. Wendy, that is a great question. What if a finalist has already registered prior to the announcement? We will work with you. So if you've already registered, we can work with you and you can bring a member of your team or somebody else on that one complimentary registration. We'll absolutely work with you on that. Think that's all our slides, right? I'm trying to think if I made another one. Oh, yes. And then who are the sponsors? So we are powered by these amazing organizations that we've named a couple times who help us make sure that we are able to create a prize package that honors and values the work that you're doing and then continues to advance it. So again, Leap Innovations, Transcend Education, Digital Promise, Educating All Learners, Alliance, and TIES. That's all our FAQ. So we'll put the link in the chat again to our page. So a lot of information is there. Please feel free to get in there. I'm going to put my email address in as well. And you can absolutely email me at any time if you have questions on your application or you want 5 minutes to talk through, is this idea or impact, or what does this one mean? Always happy to get on the phone. I saw one more question that came in. DJ, how many applications have you received in previous years? We usually receive like between a little over 100, like 100, 150. We do always get global applications, which we absolutely love as well. So this is open to anybody, again, pre-K through 12 across the country. And yes, Morgan, I will send a recording after it finishes processing. I'll send the recording and the slides to everybody who RSVP'd for the showcase or for the AMA. And I am going to hang on for a minute to see if anybody else has questions. I am going to pause the recording since I see folks are starting to drop off. But again, feel free to reach out if you have questions. Always here to connect and want to make sure everyone gets what they need.